Wait, please wait. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. My enemy is my friend.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Frankenstein's podcast, where it's all about the monster. We're a creature feature podcast about monsters and why we love them. I'm one of your hosts, Joe Praska, and with me is...
your other host, Khalid Hussein.
What's going on, Khalid Hussein?
What's going on? What's going on? Oh, man. Are we going to get, stricken by Apple for that?
Yep.
Yeah, I do sound exactly like... Is it Marvin Gaye?
I don't know.
Wow, I can't believe you don't know who sang that song, Joe. That's embarrassing.
Well, you're the one who does.
That's embarrassing for you, Joe.
All right, fair. All right, fair. Yeah.
What's up, buddy? How are you doing?
Khalid, today, I'm okay. I got a migraine right now, which sucks.
Oh, no.
But I'm realizing is actually kind of apt for our discussion here for the movies in question.
Oh my God, Joe. Oh, yes. I will say for listeners at home, this is maybe the first time in Frankenstein's podcast history that Joe has texted me and gone, do we have to do this for the pod? So yeah, I feel like this is going to be kind of an interesting discussion for both of us because you'll see as I get into my discussion with you about it.
And I think there's going to be disagreements to be had. I've my migraines really for a particular one of this double feature. I think you like that one. So,
oh my God,
little preview here.
Yeah, very true, very true. But I feel like with your migraine in mind and with all of that baiting of amazing discussion that we're gonna have, why don't we just jump into it, Joe?
We should. Before I do it, I just wanted to give a quick plug and shout out to our Patreon. If you haven't checked it out, go check out our Frankenstein's podcast Patreon link here. Will be in the show notes. We are planning out some fun stuff for you guys who decide to subscribe. Right now, it's just got the $1 level, and that's a thank you. But soon there should be some cool stuff on there, so don't forget to check that out. Anyway, back to you, Khalid. What are we talking about today?
Thanks for asking, Joe. Today we are talking about two movies. The first one is Alien vs. Predator, and I have a synopsis from our homeboy Google that goes a little something like this. A billionaire finances an expedition to the Antarctic to uncover a pyramid long since buried. However, when the team of scientists arrive, they come to realize that the frozen continent is the battlefield for two alien races, and now they are caught in the middle. No matter who wins, we lose. So that's pretty enticing. So that was Alien vs. Predator. You're not going to believe what we're doing for the other movie, Joe.
What?
Alien vs. Predator Requiem. That's right. And I have another synopsis from our homeboy Google. All right. So this one goes, residents of Gunnison, Colorado are caught up in the crossfire when two deadly extraterrestrial species bring their long-standing conflicts to Earth. On the one side, nearly indestructible aliens. On the other, a lone predator whose mission is to wipe out all traces of the alien infestation from Earth, no matter who gets in the way. And that is the last synopsis, I promise.
What a monster.
They're creatures of the abstract that live off potential energy.
It's alive!
All right. Thank you, Khalid. That was it was exciting. It was exciting. Yeah, so we're back to a double feature. We haven't done one in a while. It's just kind of fun.
Double feature. Couldn't have gone to a less deserving two.
I mean, in a sense, it's good that we're combining them. I don't think I could do both of them on their own.
Yeah. I did initially petition for 2 extra long episodes about these, but you talked me down to a double feature.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I thought before we dig into the movies themselves, though, I actually got a little history on the concept of Alien versus Predator.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's actually it's. I mean, the idea of two famous movie monsters fighting has been around for a long time. Maybe like Frankenstein versus werewolf back in the day and stuff like that.
My money's on Frankenstein.
Is it really?
No, it's because our podcast is Frankenstein's podcast.
That's a good point. So here we got the very first Alien versus Predator story was published in the Dark Horse Comics in Dark Horse Comics. Dark Horse Presents numbers 34, 36 in November of 1989. So that's when we first got kind of like the first official like thing with that. The success of that actually paved the way for the comic publishers to put on like an ongoing series under the Alien versus Predator banner, and that's actually like a comic series that still you could still buy things today from. But the idea, the first series was one of the most famous runs was this character called Machiko Noguchi, who was a woman who earned the respect of the Predators and was ultimately welcomed into one of their clans and travels around with them. So some of the initial ideas for a movie was based on that run, and you could see like hints of it in the movies a little bit, which is kind of interesting. Anyway, there's also another hint at like this coming was in the Predator 2 movie with Danny Glover. There's a scene where we see the Predator ship and there's like a xenomorph skull. So just like some teases that there's like a crossover universe possibly going to happen. But it wasn't until 2004 that we finally got the movie that we're going to be talking about, which it kind of was a long way coming. So the idea of making the movie started in the early 90s. A guy named Peter Briggs was making an adaptation of that original comic that I was kind of talking about. It was going to be called The Hunt, Alien versus Predator. He had like 2 drafts, and I think Roland Emmerich was attached to direct, but it ultimately fell apart. So a different movie we could have gotten there. Yeah, kind of fascinating. Another interesting thing, like on the road to AVP in 2004, James Cameron, our boy Jimmy C, was actually workshopping an idea for a 5th Alien film. And then on learning that Fox was going to pursue
aliens with 3 more dollar signs.
I would assume so.
Nice.
Yeah. But when he learned that they were going to make this AVP film, he actually just like angrily scrapped his plans. And he said this would, quote, kill the validity of the franchise.
Honestly, respect, Jimmy. Respect. Like
Right.
you got a good sense of IP.
Yeah. So anyway, actually, he ended up coming back to the film and like watching the first AVP, and this is kind of interesting because it tells you how salty he is about Alien 3 still. He remarked after watching it, it was actually pretty good. I think of the 5 Alien films, I'd rate it 3rd.
We are so lucky that James Cameron wasn't born a woman, because he would be just like the biggest diva. Like, I don't think Hollywood could handle like, like sassy James Cameron.
Oh, for sure.
You ever heard that story about how he like had to like stop himself from beating Harvey Weinstein with his Oscar?
No, but that's you want to share it?
I don't know. Like, I don't know the exact details, but it was like, I think it was like an Oscar party or something. He just won the Oscar for, God, I don't even know. Titanic, duh. And I think like Weinstein was like trying to corner him at a party, and he already just had a reputation as someone awful. And he pissed off Guillermo del Toro, which is appropriate for a Frankenstein's podcast anecdote. But he pissed off Guillermo del Toro, and I guess he just like hated him so much that he almost like beamed him with the Oscar.
Well, deservedly so.
Of all the people, yes.
Yeah. No. Could want to see that.
I don't know if any of it was like videotape, but I would love to hear that story.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
If we ever get Jimmy C on the pod, you can ask him about it.
I mean, he's on the calendar. It's just, if we want to really do it at this point.
Right. We have a busy schedule.
Yeah, honestly, we got so much going on.
Anyway, that background. What did you think? So let's start with the first Alien versus Predator, the 2004 one. This is the one. I'm just going to go out and say I kind of like this one. I know you felt differently. Why don't you tell me your thoughts?
God, dude, it just it took so long to set up. Like, that really was like my biggest gripe with it, was like it just felt like such a contrivance to like make any of the scenario plausible, with the whole like, oh, there's like a laser that just like shot a hole in the ground. There's a pyramid. Now the Wayland Corp is here, and it's Lance Henriksen's back for some reason, because I guess he like this is what we find out, that he was like so into his company that he had androids made about him or something. I don't know. It just like I'll be honest, like it was so much like laborious setup to like try and like pull from like all of these like references and like just make some kind of like plausible reality where like they would be like battling on Earth and like the present day when is so much of the Alien franchise is like rooted in the fact that it like takes place in like an unknowable future. It just it really just like rubbed me the wrong way and felt like fan fiction in a way that like you don't want it to, you know, like sometimes something can feel like fan
Mhm.
fiction and like, oh, I didn't know I wanted to see that until I saw it, like Spider-Man Far From Home. The Andrew Garfield character in that, I did not care about the Amazing Spider-Man, but I'm right there with everybody else when he gets that moment to kind of talk about like how he feels like he let Gwen Stacy down after, spoiler alert, like getting her killed in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, and then getting that redemption moment, spoiler alert again, when he saves MJ in Far From Home. Like that's basically just fan service for a franchise that studio abandoned, but it works. It's good. I'm fine with that. What I don't like is like contrivances, you know what I mean? And like everything about this first movie felt so contrived just to basically end with like, oh yeah, and the rest of it is just like a saw trap. Like this was just like a really long this is a really long and convoluted way to just do Saw with predators and aliens and xenomorphs. And honestly, more to the point, I think that like this movie like did what it shouldn't do and proved exactly why Alien versus Predator movie isn't interesting, because like it's not like Freddy versus Jason, which also came out during this time. I think it was like a really big like versus period there. I distinctly remember these movies coming out around the same time and being like, oh, like these studios are like kind of chasing a trend here. And at least with Freddy versus Jason, like there is like a combative element to it where like they're both like the mean like monsters in like a fantasy-ish like but real world setting, and they're killing teenagers, blah blah blah. Like that's all like checks off the same boxes, but that doesn't, if you think about it for longer than 2 seconds, like xenomorphs and predators have like so little to do with each other, and it really just kind of comes across as like what would happen if big game hunters had to like take out a locust infestation. Like I don't know. Like they probably get it done eventually or die trying. Like it just, that's not as interesting to me as like a straight up fight with like comparable characters. And this movie just kind of undermined itself by showing why that's not interesting. Like they had to do this whole thing of like, oh yeah, actually the only reason this is even happening is because the predators want the xenomorphs to be made, and like it's like a ritual, and it's like a weird like predator bar mitzvah that none of the other movies ever alluded to, and apparently happens every 100 years. And I swear to God, I had to reread the Wikipedia like 5 minutes before this podcast because that plot just washed off me like water, bro. Anyways, that was a long-winded way of saying I don't know why this one's your favorite.
I mean, favorite's a stretch here. I mean,
You will not stop raving. You just showed me an Alien versus Predator is the better one tattoo on your back.
it's true. I did get that permanently tattooed on my back.
Yeah, no, we probably should go back to not like just getting tattoos of every movie we just saw.
True. Good point. Good point. Yeah. No, I don't know. I like, I mean, I don't love it. I don't hate it, but it's very dumb, but I don't know. I had fun with it. Like once things started getting going, I was just having fun. Like there's just like silly bits. The fights are good. Like it's all practical. Like the effects kind of, I think, generally hold up fairly well for a movie from 2004. I mean, you talk about the contrivances with like Lance Henriksen's character being there. I feel like you got to do a lot of hoop jumping to figure out like the genealogy of Wayland with the the Guy Pearce one.
You don't though, because this is all dumb, and
Yeah.
it adds nothing to take it seriously and incorporate it in
No.
either lore.
I'm saying if you wanted to, this was made before Prometheus, and of course Prometheus actively ignores this. So like, like this, I don't know if this guy's like Guy Pearce's father or something, but that being said, like having a contrivance there, it is fun to see Lance Henriksen get to be part of this world again. I enjoyed seeing him there. The idea of like Wayland and funding it, it's very fan servicey, but I don't hate it for what it is. The Antarctic setting I thought was kind of a cool like cool way to like bring something new to the franchise a little bit. It did feel very Prometheus in some sense, how they're exploring this ancient temple kind of thing. But ultimately, I felt like the location and like the survivors and all that, it doesn't jostle continuity too much by having the alien being like in a city, like the sequel. But I don't know, the ancient aliens bit, like how they were like there and helped build the pyramids, that kind of feels a little
Underground pyramids, like
problematic, silly. I don't know what you could say.
it just doesn't even make sense to like the Predator lore when they talk about how they like taught them this. Like, what? How? Walk me through that. I don't understand. Are you talking like, did they have blueprints? Did they teach them their language or learn ours?
Sounds to me like you want a prequel to this, Cliff.
I don't want a prequel, Joe. I want them to stop implying things that make me upset.
I liked Sanaa Lathan.
Everyone likes Sanaa Lathan, man. She's great.
Yeah,
of course. Big ups. Thank you for bringing that up. She's great.
She made it very palatable. I liked her character. I don't mind the whole human teaming up with Predator at the end. It was done in Predator 2 with Danny Glover a little, not teaming up, but like gaining the respect a little bit. I like that. I know some people don't love it, but I kind of enjoy like as a storytelling device to kind of make this story go a little further. I thought that was kind of fun.
It also kind of just like proves that like all the other Predators from the other movies are dicks. Like they can just kind of cut the shit when push comes to shove.
I think that's fine. It shows like
it's a choice. Like you guys, you could have stopped picking on Arnold. Like you got the rest of his team.
Yeah, like I think that's totally fine. Like you show different faces of the Predators. It's cool. Honestly, like if they were to make the attempt to make this into a franchise, AVP, like I don't know if it's definitely a separate continuity. It's got to be. But like if they were to continue with this, like they should have, honestly, what they set up in this movie, they should have built the franchise around her character, I think.
I guess, but I'll be honest, like when I turned on the second one, I immediately, even as much as I liked her character, I immediately stopped caring about those other characters from the first movie.
Well, she's the only one that's left.
Right. Well, I mean, I just mean like none of them made an impression on me. It was just like as soon as like you realize they were just being like slowly picked off to be like consumed by facehuggers or what have you. There was one cool shot though. Was that in the first one when the facehuggers are in midair and like they get two guys at once? That shit was dope.
I think so.
I can say one like really nice thing about this movie because I don't want to like make it seem like sour on it. It just wasn't for me, especially when compared to the second one, which we'll get into. But like that was sick. Like there were some really like when you talk about the VFX and like and stunt work and stuff like that, like that felt like a really cool and like extra like way to look at it, like a facehugger attack that I never considered. It had like a very John Woo vibe.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good shots in there. Like that stuff. That was the little temple where they like get locked in, right? Mm-hmm. And then the eggs open up. Like you're right. It's very much a Jigsaw type temple pyramid thing, like a Saw. Again, a silly thing, and this is kind of a critique now. You take Alien, you take Predator, you try to mix it in with Saw, and you make it all PG-13.
Yeah, I'm surprised that didn't work.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it was not a good call. I mean, you could watch the unrated version, which I did. It has you could tell that the blood is all CGI, so they could edit it out to make it PG-13, which is annoying.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like given the constraints they had, they pulled off a decent film that's kind of fun to watch. I like the idea of the Queen's like kind of this like prisoner, and then the big battle with the Queen in the end is good. Paul W.S. Anderson, like I think he's kind of a controversial director. Like not everyone loves Resident Evil franchise. I enjoy it. I think he has like style about him. Like he did this era, this 2000s era. He did Resident Evil a couple of years prior to this. He loves that like 3D high tech looking.
Can I say something?
Scene transitions. Do you notice those?
Can I say something?
What? Yeah.
You brought it up earlier, and I want to just say, like, I feel like we need to like really revisit like how we characterize special effects and graphics, especially given like what we've been presented in the last few years. Like 2004 graphics, I would say on average probably fare better than like most average day movies. You know what I mean? Like I would put Alien versus Predator up against freaking Quantumania. And that's no disrespect to the VFX houses that are out there working on these things. They are very overworked and have like horrible timetables. And it's really another issue about studios not giving creators like the space to do things properly. And the only reason I bring this up is because like I feel like we're almost like rewriting history by like implying that like everything that comes out now must automatically be better than back then, because like especially now, you made me think of it, this Paul W.S. Anderson, like his Resident Evil movies, I would hold those movies up against so many things we've gotten since that movie came out. Like those are amazing graphics, all things considered.
Agreed. Yeah. Like he has a style. Like I don't think he like I don't know, like people would say like Paul W.S. Anderson's like some sort of auteur or something, but like he's kind of like a guy who comes in and gets the job done and makes it really cool to look at and to watch. Like
He makes it
he can
so
make a
cool.
fun movie.
He makes it
Yeah.
so cool.
He's really good at that, and I think that shines here. Like the a lot of the fight scenes, the battles, some of the ideas, and the way he shoots the creatures like look really cool.
Yeah, I mean, and they're just, I don't know, like Paul W.S. Anderson, like I think that he's appropriately rated. Like it's not like, oh, like he's an unsung hero or something. I think he is appropriately rated. It's just that, man, like that is not a bad career to have. Like just making awesome action movies with your wife and like just being like a cult hero. That's so fun.
Yeah, no, I'm into it. So I mean, I think part of the reason I'm a little lighter on this movie than you are is like I saw it back when it came out, and I don't remember what I thought, but like watching it now, like I remembered most of the movie, and I was like, I know what's coming, I know the twists, I know like what this plot is, so I wasn't like surprised coming into it and being like let down already. I think I just like knowing it existed, so I was like, I'm just along for the ride. I'm having fun, but
Sure. No, and I mean, even what I'm saying about it, like it's just that like I'll be honest, at this point, like I'm kind of glad that like we did this last, because like it's also just kind of coupled with like I'm a little aliened out from having never seen a single Alien movie besides Prometheus and Covenant years ago, to seeing all of them and like really thinking about them and getting in the weeds about them. This is kind of an interesting way to go out.
it really is. Yeah, yeah, it's a good thing we didn't go chronologically, right? These would be first.
Oh God, no, yeah. Yeah, no, that's so funny that this is technically like the origins of both of those just based on the timeline. Like,
Yeah,
um, yeah.
that's a
Anyways,
scary thought.
should we move into Requiem?
Okay.
You're putting it off so much.
All right, let's do it.
All right, I kind of had my little tirade first last time. Do you want to go?
All right. Okay.
You got to crack your knuckles first.
Yeah. So this movie, the first one, you have problems, but at least it just made an attempt. It made an attempt to build something lore based. They had some sort of concept that they were trying to do. It was dumb, fine, but it was something. This is like generic slasher, generic teen movie, Alien and Predator thrown in there. It is nothing. There's nothing here. It is nothing. It's mean spirited. I can point to a lot of scenes that made me just frown, and I it's lit poorly. I don't know. It's a bad movie. There are some things that I'd say were cool, but I'll get into those later. What do you think?
I'll give you my thoughts in a second. Listeners, I just want you to know, like, there might be a few of you that aren't from the Midwest or Minnesota specifically that don't understand, but that was the equivalent of like the Ether song, Nas's Ether, what Joe just did there for a Midwestern person. When he says that it made him frown, like that is one of the most devastating things you could say about anything. So just take that into mind when you replay Joe's rant there. Anyway,
Thanks for the clarification.
yeah. I just wanted to make sure that wasn't lost on anybody that might not be culturally aware. That being said, man, I don't know what to tell you, dude. Like, I kind of like that they left the lore out of it. If anything, like this did everything I was like begging the first movie did, as far as just get to the point. Like, I also love that like it's one of the rare sequels that actually like dares to happen like literally seconds after the first movie, because that's always fun. Like sometimes you'll be like watching something and you'll be like, oh, when you actually like play it all back, like this happened over the course of like 3 days, and it's like, oh yeah, like John Wick, that's what I was thinking of. John Wick also happens like that for the first, I think, 3 movies, and then when you think about his body count and everything he went through, you're just like, Oh, yeah. Nobody even like. Why do you even put a hit out on him? Like he'll die of internal bleeding or sleep deprivation. um. Anyways, I like it. It gets straight to the point in terms of like you don't have any lore. You don't need any more you already got the contrivance of why this is even happening in the first movie. So you're lucky enough to now get into like the fun part of fan fiction, because this is also a very fan fiction-y movie as a sequel, where instead of going like the lore heavy route that some fan fiction goes, this went more like the Marvel's What If fan fiction, where it's like, oh, what if like these two creatures that appeared in franchises with like very specific like targets or people involved, you know, in terms of like hunters or like space mechanics. What if it was just like a small town in like present day? What would that be like? That to me just like makes more sense if you're gonna do a fake like versus type movie, you know. That it just tracks for me. And then like they just get straight into it. It's like, what would happen? It'd be really bad. And I also kind of like the idea of like this like begrudging like predator coming down from space, like cleaning up this infestation, because that adds way more to the lore than like, oh, a bunch of us just like made people build underground pyramids that like are also saw trap rooms. Like that is like, oh no, there's probably predators out there that think that the general predator population is hella obnoxious and big game hunting is like gross and doesn't prove anything. And sometimes like they accidentally like leave a bunch of xenomorphs to infest a planet that's important to them. And so they got to go clean it up. Like that tracks to me a lot more in terms of like why he would come down and why he would fight. And like, it's a little bit more of an interesting reason for the matchup, but that's my 2 cents.
I'll give you that. I was gonna say like one of the things I had a notes that I thought was kind of cool is I think the whole wolf concept, right? We talked to friend of the podcast Ian White, who played Wolf in this one, the Predator, and then Scar in the first one too. Like I like that idea of the Predator fixer, like the cleaner upper who's coming to fix the problem.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. That's a cool concept. I just okay. I also I liked getting a glimpse of the Predator homeworld. That was cool. I wish we could have spent more time there. I just want to add some things I like here. I want to be a little nice. I liked the final scene with Miss Yutani. I thought that was kind of an interesting idea, because I feel like the Alien franchise in general is so Weyland focused, but we forget the Weyland Yutani element. Like that idea of being like,
I'm kind of glad they're leaving the Yutani element alone. I'm hoping that somebody like a Dan Trachtenberg is like the one that runs with it one day.
Agreed. I'm just saying, like conceptually, I like the idea that they would touch that more than the Weyland side of it. Like that's a cool like change up.
I know, but like a Yutani like samurai xenomorph movie,
that would be dope.
That'd be sick as hell.
Super dope. Yeah. I mean, honestly, it'd be kind of interesting, like given the weight that Weyland side of things like really has on like the alien xenomorph side of things, it'd almost be kind of interesting if they were to really merge these worlds, like the Yutani was more investigating the predators and they were like, oh, extraterrestrials, like we're going to combine forces, and they're both just like interested in those things, but like had separate like entry points into that idea, you know?
Yeah.
That could be kind of cool. I will say the Predalien, the predator alien like monster is kind of cool too. Like I like that design. It's just so hard to see. The color grading is poor. Parts of it feel oversaturated and parts of it are just too dark. I don't understand why they did it that way.
I mean, again, like I have better things to say about this movie, but it also kind of suffered from like it didn't make much of an impression on me.
Yeah. So here's a thought. Like the pizza boy kid. Like
oh my god, yeah.
Like what? Like I'm like
you mean with the homicidal bullies?
Yeah, they're like adults, or are they chill? Like, are they adults or are they high schoolers? Like, what was happening there?
Those
are
like clearly 23-year-old unemployed people that have a feud with the local pizza man.
And they order pizza from him to like throw his keys in the sewer.
What is wrong with that girl? I love how she thinks she's both sidesing it. Like, honestly, like if there was ever a better metaphor for like the Democratic Party, it's that girl. Like, whose side should I be on? The side that orders pizza from a guy just to threaten to murder him, or the pizza guy who's just doing his job?
Yeah. It was insane. And we spent so much time on that weird plot, and his like brother getting out of jail or something to help. I don't know where his brother came from to like help him find his keys in the sewers. And this small town like has a why do they have so many homeless people in the sewers? Like, is that a commentary on something? In the sewers, like not just like on the street,
I
like
think
in
it's
the
just a
sewers.
PSA to like keep an eye on your sewers, man.
It was just a weird like, and there were so many weird jump scares where you're like, oh, it's gonna be an alien. No, it's a homeless man. Like, what the fuck is that?
I'm sorry, that's not funny. It's how you're
It's not,
saying it that's funny.
it's well, yeah, that's fair. But the concept is ridiculous.
No, I hear you. I hear you. And it is ridiculous, but the premise is ridiculous. Like,
True,
that to
true.
me, for me, it's like, you know what? Props to the brothers Strause. Like, they had to fill big shoes in terms of like coming up after Paul W.S. Anderson. They honored his movie by not pretending it didn't exist, which a lot of sequels do, and it's
Right,
annoying. Like, if it's a
right.
sequel, build. And this did build, you know? It created a
Yeah.
scenario out of the last scenario, and like they went kind of gonzo with it. I do gotta say, did it just bug you that the kid got killed? Because I feel like, especially as a parent, like the way that kid got murdered was like pretty gruesome.
That would be one of the scenes I frowned at. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I can, like, especially like ever since like my sister had a kid, like I can tell like certain things are just like more triggering, understandably, you know, like you have
Yeah.
like your own kid now, you don't have to wonder what that would be like. It's like, oh god, that would be the worst thing ever. And like this movie is way too blasé about it.
Yeah, that was yeah, that was weird. The way that was like presented. I also was like really like uncomfortable with the like the maternity ward sequence.
Mm.
I thought that was really like mean spirited also, like especially coming from like the history of the franchise and like thematically how like the idea of like it being kind of like a rape allegory and like the points that like Dan O'Bannon had made in the original franchise of like who the facehugger would target in a sense. Like it just felt like that was just a big role reversal, like making it more regressive than progressive in a sense, you know?
Mm.
And it just felt, like I said, mean spirited, and it was gross, you know, like I didn't care for that.
It was gratuitous.
Gratuitous, that's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, gratuitous. It felt unnecessary. Like I kind of get what they're trying to do with it, and like, you know, present this like pred alien character as this big bad who'd like do some awful stuff and like really like detestable, but like yeah, it was a lot. I don't know. Yeah, that was rough.
I
Yeah.
do like that they're very like the ending just makes sense in terms of like you do have to just nuke the fucking place. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's always been the most like exciting like possibility with this is like, you know, that even the Joss Whedon one that that was the first one I accused of feeling like fan fiction, if you'll remember.
I do.
Even that one understood that like xenomorphs getting to Earth is like a problem that you have to take seriously. You have to respect that the first movie like made a very good point that like Ripley's sacrifice, everybody's sacrifice was like for a reason. These things would decimate the Earth if given the chance, and like the way that it ends and everything, it just feels appropriate to me.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I want to go back to your point about like actually building off the first one. I do think that's a cool idea. Like there was probably like attempts in the first movie to want to like combine the alien and the predator, and I don't know if they just weren't able to do it until the very end and just make it a tease. But the idea that they took that to make the main antagonist of this one was cool. Like that was it was a cool opportunity to make a new creature. And I'll get into the design when we do it on the monsters and stuff. Like that was a good idea. I did read that the original script actually had the pred alien dying early on
Mm.
in the script. I'm like, why would that? Again, that just seems like a bad call if that's going to be like your big draw. Yeah, so like I like that. Like I like that element. I think a lot of another thing is like, I mean, you had the pizza kid, like a bunch of the characters are just super unmemorable. I think that the sheriff was okay. But then the woman who was like the former Marine or some former like army person, she was okay
That
too.
Molly?
Kelly, I got.
Yeah.
Yeah, those characters were okay. Like I like both of them. Both this movie and the previous one kept like the idea of having like generally like a woman protagonist in the lead, which is good. I appreciate that. It's just there's not a I don't know. Like I get if you're a fan of this, like I guess it's worth a watch, but I just don't find a whole lot of redeeming qualities to it.
Yeah, why would you? It's just I
Yeah.
don't know. It doesn't feel like anybody like went into this like thinking there was more to it than just like wish fulfillment. And that's just kind of a bummer because there is potential, especially like, you know, Hollywood's always, as soon as like the concept of a blockbuster was a thing, like the concept of like franchising IP was so addicting to studios. And we like to think about like the Marvel Cinematic Universe as like this like phenomenon and an anomaly, but it's like, no, that's like literally like what we like industries have been like, or the film industry has been like gravitating towards and praying towards, at least like on a big box office level. And they tried it with like these kinds of movies like Freddy versus Jason and stuff like that, of like combining IPs and like something that could like spawn off, and it's like suddenly you've got all these other side characters that you can do. And it's interesting to think that there is a reality where like somebody gets the rights to do Alien versus Predator the first time and they just kill it. There's a Jon Favreau of the Alien versus Predator out there that just gets it and directs and writes the hell out of it and casts it perfectly. And now me and you are 30 something men talking about the 32nd Alien versus Predator spinoff.
Yeah. You're right. And I mean, and realistically, like, I think you could, like, a lot of people make the case that you could look to the comics for, there are a lot of good stories there, like, that people have made, pitting these two the creatures together that are interesting and cool. One more thing I wanted to say about the two movies before I say something else about cool stories. I appreciate that both Anderson and the Strause brothers made a priority to like shoot as much as the possible on camera, and keeping with the franchise tradition. CGI they used was pretty decent, but a lot of it was practical, and that keeps that VFX like spectacle element there. I think that both of those movies got that part right.
Yeah.
Anyway, that being said, with regards to like a good AVP movie, what I'd like to see if this were revisited, and this is where I'd want the franchise to go. I don't want it to be in present day Earth. Like, I don't want the present day stuff. I think that you set this in a future, you make it a space opera. And to the credit of the Strause brothers, actually, they initially wanted to make a movie set in the far future, mostly in space, but the studio said, no, keep it in present day. So they were confined. Like, and so in some sense, I don't really blame them for the end product. But there's a book series called the Rage War series. Have you heard of this, Khalid?
I haven't.
I'm just giving you the chance. It's so Tim Levin is the author. It's in the universe. It's the Rage War series. They're titled weirdly. Like the first one's like a Predator novel. Technically, the second one's an Alien novel, and the third one's an Alien versus Predator novel. But they're all just AVP in general. But it's like many years like past even I think Alien Resurrection, and like humans are like high tech spacefaring species. There's like an offshoot of humanity. Who's kind of like genetically modified, that kind of comes and starts to try to attack the colonized worlds with basically controlled aliens that they found a way to control using another life species, and they ultimately like predators are involved. So it's like this kind of futuristic like space opera thing, and I think that's kind of an interesting way that you could have taken it. I don't want to get into the books and like spoilers or anything. People could check those out if they're interested, but I'd like to see it like in the future somehow. That's my thought.
I mean, yeah, I think future is the obvious thing to do, just like especially because like you just really bastardize a lot of the Alien chronology. Even Ridley Scott, who, if anybody had a right to really do a present day Alien movie and maybe do it justice, didn't. Like, he still set his like in the far future as a prequel. But I don't know. I think part of me would be like, if you did still keep it present day, I think the big misstep was setting it on Earth. Like, I think what would be more interesting is like, like almost like a Gravity, like the Sandra Bullock movie, like a modern or like present day space team in space dealing with a xenomorph, and like,
or like Life, that movie with Ryan Reynolds and Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, like something where like they're even less like futuristic tech is like up against an elite killing machine, and like what that looks like. Obviously, it probably just means they would die quicker, but I'm not.
Ooh, yeah, but Alien versus Predator on the International Space Station.
Exactly.
That's kind of a cool idea.
You know what I mean? Like, give us characters that are from like an International Space Station, and it's like, it could have. There's potential there. I think that could have been interesting.
That'd be cool. I like that idea. Yeah, and it'd be like astronauts or something.
Yeah,
no, that's
because like part of like the Ridley Scott world that is like a shortcut for it being in the far future is like they're on a space station, but the space station just kind of feels like like a water treatment facility for a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So like this would be like, oh yeah, like you're actually like it's what's actually scary about space, where it's like you like the thing you're in barely keeps you alive. Do not do anything to disrupt it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a good idea. We should probably move on to the monsters, but before we do, if anyone's really craving some more Alien versus Predator content, I did find one more interesting like piece of the franchise that exists out there. There's a comic from 2000 called Alien versus Predator versus Terminator.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah,
I was out
takes
and now I'm
place,
back in.
takes place on Earth right after Alien Resurrection, following Ripley and Winona Ryder's character.
See, because you got time travel.
Uh-huh.
That's amazing. What?
Wait, no, it was written in.
No, you mean Ripley and Sarah Connor?
No, she's not in it. It's the characters from Alien Resurrection after they land on Earth
Oh,
after that movie,
what?
and for some reason they're Terminators. I don't understand it. Read it and then
Wait,
get back to
they're
me, Clede. I'm not gonna read
Terminators?
it. No, I think there are
Oh.
Terminators. What are you confused about?
Well, first of all, you said Winona Ryder, and I forgot she was in anything, and I was like,
Yeah.
wait, Winona Ryder was a Terminator?
She was not Sarah Connor.
I know she wasn't. I know you. I was like, wait, do you mean Linda Hamilton? And no, you don't.
Yeah,
But
I do not.
how do
I'm just reading the synopsis here.
you do an Alien Terminator crossover and not have the obvious pairing of Sarah Connor and Ripley?
Right.
That's such a missed opportunity. I'm just baffled.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I don't know. I'm reading too much into it now. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm wasting my time because I'm never actually going to read it.
Sorry,
I don't know. Maybe I will.
I didn't
Probably
mean
not,
to
but-
sink your recommendation. That just sounded so cool. And then you mentioned like, oh yeah, it's two characters from like the worst Alien.
Yeah, it's based after that. Yeah, it's like it's so there you go.
Cool.
Yeah.
Should we, Joe? I'm gonna steal your line. Should we monster?
Let's monster.
Hell yeah.
Did I say it like you say it?
Yeah, you did. I liked it. There was gusto.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right. We'll monster it up. So for both of these films, the special effects company Amalgamated Dynamics Incorporated, ADI, that's led by Alec Gillis and Tom Woodruff Jr., worked on these. They were the ones who worked on Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection. Those two guys actually were hoping to direct Requiem before they hired the Strause brothers, so they were kind of probably salty about that. In the first Alien versus Predator, roughly 70% of the scenes were created using suits, puppets, and miniatures. The Alien Queen was filmed using 3 variations, a 4.8 meter practical version, a puppet, and then there's the computer-generated like effect as well. The practical version required 12 puppeteers to operate, and CGI tails were added to the aliens and the queens as they were difficult to kind of animate using the puppetry. The Predators actually in the first one were pretty much all played by Ian White, actually, even though he was mostly kind of focused on the one Scar. But Tom Woodruff Jr. was in the alien suits since he kind of has done it since Alien 3, I believe. They did also create a hydraulic alien puppet, so they were able to make certain movements faster and give the alien a kind of like more skeletal appearance than the actor in the suit kind of deal. But the puppet required 6 people to make it work.
Oh my god.
Yeah, right.
That's involved.
Yeah, so I thought that was kind of interesting with regards to the first one. Now, the kind of the big, like, I was about to say star of the show, but I guess star of the show. The big new monster that we have here is the Pred Alien, I think is what it's referred to mostly
I
as.
hate pronouncing it that way.
I don't. What would you say?
No, but like there's no good pronunciation of it. It's a very ugly portmanteau.
I thought you had an alternative for me, but
The
yeah, it
alternative
sucks.
is bleh.
Yeah, I like that. But I'm gonna go with Pred Alien.
Yeah.
Anyway, so basically the concept is it's a chest burster that gestated inside of a predator. The idea is it incorporates several traits taken from the predator host, notably the dreadlock-like appendages on the head. The head's actually less elongated than most xenomorphs. They have the mandibles around the mouth.
Ooh, call it the
There's
Rostamorph.
The Rostamorph. Is that...
Because
That's
of the
okay.
dreadlocks.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I pitched it, so I think you can say it.
Okay. Anyway, according to the directors, it's supposed to be a young queen. I don't know how that really works, but that's what they've said in interviews. Um, Now, I got some stuff from ADI, the VFX company, about how they came to create this. They wanted it to look more like an alien so that the audience would believe its loyalties were with more with the alien species than the predators. So their initial thing was like 80% alien, 20% predator. However, that changed a bit. They had a child, I don't know whose child, was visiting the studio where they were making this, saw the sculpted design and said, "Wow, cool alien." They're like, "Ah, it's too alien." So then they went back and they kind of gave it a little more like predator elements to it. Ultimately, it was built as a series of complete creature suits. Tom Woodruff Jr. also wore the suit for that one. Total of 6 suits were made. And yeah, that's kind of what I got. The only other thing I had written under this, what I already said, is that the early drafts of the film, it dies in the crash in the beginning of the movie. It just shows up in that beginning part. So
Yeah.
um yeah, so I don't know.
I mean, that's the thing is like the idea of a predator rostomorph. Sorry,
Uh-huh.
the idea of a rostomorph is so cool, and it's an exciting concept to like bring to life, and I don't like really know what they could have done differently for me to like be more hype about it, but I don't know, man. It just feels like a like kind of I don't know. It feels like, to bring it back to the MCU, it feels like late stage Marvel, where it's like sometimes like it's like a scene I'll see now where it's like, man, I should be way more hype about this, and I'm
Mhm.
just not. Maybe it's just like I built it up too much.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, I don't know. I like the idea of it. I think like the design is kind of cool. I just think you can't see it very well in the movie. Like I said, the lighting is so poor. You never get good shots of it.
It really is like, yeah, like I don't have any like striking shots of it in my mind, which is like it's
The
surprising considering it's Paul Thomas Anderson or Paul W. Anderson. That'd be so funny if Paul Thomas Anderson directed this.
that would be. It's not though. It's the Strause brothers.
Oh, this is the second one. Sorry. The Strauss.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Strausses. Yeah. Okay.
Paul W.S. Anderson gives us the chest burster like at the very end, the tease. That's
Right.
it. But,
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
And that's exciting,
yeah,
which I mean,
that was cool.
yeah. But I all in all, I'm happy we did it just as like the completionist in me. I can say I saw them all
Mhm.
now, but yeah, this one's a skip for a rewatch, I think.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, not a whole lot there, but anyway, that's all.
Such an uplifting note.
Yeah, no, I think so. For listeners, Khalid kind of said it. This is, I didn't say in the beginning, this is our final Xenomania episode, and I know that we had like kind of a long break. We just had a lot going on, and so we weren't able to get an episode out to you guys, listeners. But this is kind of our final episode in this series. I think it was really fun to do like a whole series on one specific kind of like creature in a sense, even though there's multiple creatures within it. And I'm looking forward to doing more kind of series. I have I think both of us have ideas of things we might want to tackle in the future, but
Oh,
I know for now
totally.
we're gonna go back to like more single episodes for a little while at least. But I wanted to kind of do just a little bit of like wrap up with Xenomania, Khalid, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
So just like your thoughts, Khalid, what did you think about doing the series? Like, what will you take away from kind of doing the deep dive into the Alien franchise?
I think the biggest thing I'm gonna take away from it is like a bigger admiration for creators of sci-fi horror as a genre. It's weird to say, what is it, like almost 3 years into this podcast at this point?
I think so.
It's weird to say, but like I even now, like I feel like as a genre, I'm still learning to like really respect the craft of it all and like how a Ridley Scott uh can execute something so well, or a James Cameron can execute something in the same world so differently but also so well. I'm just understanding like the chemistry act of it all, the balancing act of it all, and I'm really getting a newfound appreciation that I think I'm going to take with me to like our future discussions that this franchise kind of cracked open for me. And as much as the good movies taught me, the bad ones did too. And I say bad only by comparison to James Cameron and Ridley Scott. You know, calm down. You're not as good as them. Way you're still in a very privileged position of like a one percentile of the 1% of creators that you got to make an Alien movie. If it wasn't as good as James Cameron's, I'm so sorry. But I learned from those movies too. Fincher, Whedon and the French guy, yeah, Genet. Like I learned from them just as much as I learned from the successful ones, in the sense that like it really is like if you go just a little too far in one direction or a little too far in the other direction, like Fincher was a little too interested in one thing, Whedon was a little too interested in another thing, and it just was not what these movies were about. And it's important to know that going into it as a director and as like the head of like something that has this much lore involved into it. So yeah, I think that's my answer, is like I am now I feel like a little bit more informed as a sci-fi horror fan, and I can give credit to this franchise for that.
Great point, Khalid. I think that's well said. I'm with you. Like I think I really enjoyed like just doing this. Like I've always loved the Alien movies, but this is like the closest like I've ever put them under a microscope in a sense, and really like dug deep into what they're trying to do. And it, for all its faults of some of the sequels, like there's just a lot of really interesting things to pick apart. Like in a lot of not so good movies out there, it's like there's not much you want to say about this. Like even like maybe with Requiem might be that case, but like all this, the ones in the Alien franchise, at least, like there's interesting things to pull from each film, interesting visions that you can really like pick apart and look at. And as a franchise, it's cool to say like it doesn't follow a formula really. Like there are homages in a sense, but like they're all so different in a sense. Like some people will argue like we keep referencing the MCU or something, like at this point that universe, like there's a formula that a lot of those movies are following where you know
You don't
like
even
the
have
act
to go
structure and all that,
after the
you know.
MCU. Like Mission Impossible,
Mission
like is
Impossible, yeah, other
inarguably
things
a
like that.
formula at this point. We love it. We go back every time.
Mhm.
Fast and Furious to a lesser extent, but I still love it. That's not an insult. Um, like these movies, like they definitely like these by the seventh, eighth movie, like they are in a very reliable groove that audiences are going back for. And you are 100% right. The Alien movies never slide into that.
And I think that's kind of special about them. Like, I think that's really cool to see. Like, you could throw on any one of them and just get such a very different flavor that's so different from something else. Like, and it starts at the beginning. Like, at the beginning, like you had that isolation, like horror type story in the beginning. And then James Cameron comes in, ramps it up to like an action, like, expanded mythos kind of thing. Like,
And I think that
right
part of
there,
that is
you know?
like the benefit of it's genre, it's niche genre,
Mhm.
sci-fi and horror, two very experimental and daring genres to begin with. Like a lot of other movies work their way up into being like borderline sci-fi or borderline horror at times. You know what I mean? Like they
Mhm.
like get so ridiculous that they start to flirt with those genres. This movie dares to start in it and get weirder.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And so, yeah, I mean, for all its faults, for all the faults of the sequels, I will always have an admiration for this series, even some of the bad ones. And I'm really glad we end up doing it. I also feel like, just like a wrap up sense, like having all the different guests that we've had on this series has been really fun. Like I've learned about the Alien fandom out there, like that there is a really strong fandom out there. Like some of those podcasts I mentioned in the past, or other people who've done deep dives, or just the people that we interviewed here, like folks who have written books on the topics, or like go back through our list and look at all of our guests. Like they've all been really phenomenal. Or some of our like regular Frankenstein's podcast guests who just come on and talk here and have stories. Like everyone who's a fan of like sci-fi or sci-fi horror, like has some sort of like connection to the franchise, whether it's like from their child or even something new, like you're saying, like you feel something strong about this now. Like it's something that impacts people in an interesting way, and it's interesting to dig into. And I think our series has really illustrated that for me.
Yeah, no, this is super fun, and I'm really excited for what I like you said, I'm excited to go back to just like one-offs just for a while to give my brain a break. But whenever we do decide to dive back into another series, I am super excited to see what I come away with from that, because, you know, as long as you're just being an active viewer, like you're always going to learn something. And like the truth is, like we are being dramatic when we say, "Oh, this one's a failure, this one's a success." Like every
Yeah.
movie created and like brought to us in a like completed form is a success by virtue of the fact that you were able to essentially like mobilize a team of people to like get this to us, and like we can discuss it and disseminate it. And while we may not appreciate some things, others do, and it's important that that piece of media exists.
Agreed.
Yeah. But yeah, our other wrap up, Joe. I don't know if you, the other wrap up that you wanted that we promised at the top. We should,
Promised.
yeah, we promised it, and we will follow up on it right now. The much awaited roundup fight or flirt of all of the movies, and we have a fun little twist to it this time, don't we, Joe?
Speaking of twist, Khalid.
Oh God, you don't have to. Yeah, Joe. What about twists?
I mean, I don't know. Just keep going with what you're going to say. I just needed to throw that in there.
You did. I forgot about those. It's been just long enough for me to forget and feel it all over again. Anyways, yeah. So we're gonna do Fight or Flirt, which for those of you who just started listening to us through the XENOMANIA series, don't really know anything about, because we weren't doing them every episode because we decided it was redundant. But essentially, Fight or Flirt is exactly what it sounds like. We talk about the monster in question and whether or not I would fight or flirt with it to survive. And this time we have a fun little twist. Speaking of twist, Khalid, about where Joe is going to guess before I say what I would do for each creature from each movie. So, Joe, do you want to do that?
I do.
Okay, I don't know if I explained that well.
I think it's fine. I'm just going to guess your fight or flirts. That's all.
Exactly. Okay.
All right, Khalid, are you ready?
I'm ready, I think.
Okay. So, fighting or flirting with the newborn from Alien Resurrection. I'm going out of order here, but that's one that just came to my head right now. The newborn from Alien Resurrection. I'm going to guess, just given its sultry gaze, that you would flirt.
That's the one that Clone Sigourney birthed.
Yep.
Well, you know the old saying, if it's half Sigourney, I'm all in. That was gross.
Is that an old saying?
That's a flirt. I could have just said flirt. I didn't have to say that.
You said it. It's on record now.
It is, unfortunately. Yeah, that's a flirt. What did you think?
I said flirt. I said I think you would flirt.
You think I would flirt? Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I got that 1 for 1.
Yeah.
All right, Khalid. The Predalien from Requiem. I think. Do I guess first?
No, yeah, you guess first.
Okay, so I think with the Predalien, given what we see in the film, it's powerful, but it does have a little more intelligence than most of the aliens because it has the predator DNA. It organizes. I think you would, plus the dreadlocks, you would try your hand at flirting.
I gotta burst your bubble. I would fight the Predalien.
Damn.
It's honestly, it's too smart. That's my problem with it.
Okay.
It's like a really intelligent hyena at that point. You know what I mean? Like, it has very little use for me. I think what I bring to the table in terms of the other xenomorphs is my intelligence. I can do things like open up a checking account, and that just seems like a helpful thing to have in a partnership. So I just don't know what I contribute to the Predalien. Sorry, Rostamorph.
Rostamorph, got it. Yep, yeah. I should have said that to begin with.
Yeah. Apology accepted.
All right. 1 for 2.
Okay.
All right. So as you could tell, Khalid, I'm jumping around different movies. I'm not going any sort of order.
I like it. You're zigging. You're zagging. What's happening?
Kind of throwing you through some loops here. That's my plan.
Ooh.
Yeah. All right. So now, okay. The runner alien from Alien 3. Fight all the way because it's so dumb.
Wait. Remind me of the runner alien again. Like,
it's the one alien in 3.
My God. Yes.
Yeah.
Fight, but in like a really fun, like Sherlock Moriarty way, because that's like such a David Finchery like alien. It's like that alien understands timing. You know what I mean?
It does.
I distinctly remember that is an alien you could direct. You know, very.
I remember
easy.
blowing out candles too. Remember that? Like
Mhm.
blew out candles. Yeah, it knows things.
For me, it's like just for the sake of the melodrama. Like when we go at it, it's gonna be like a little novella. It's gonna be fun. So fight for fun.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
The engineers from Prometheus. Uh, I say that you are going to fight. I don't think you would win, but I think you're going to fight because I feel like you'd be too insecure to flirt.
Oh my god. Listeners, I
Yeah.
don't know if you heard that, but that was me just offended to shit that you think.
I mean, if you're insecure about the Predalien, Rostamorph. If you're insecure about that one, the engineers are like 10 times smarter.
Yeah, they're 10 times smarter, and they're humans, and there are gods, dude. Like, that's
Not humans.
they're basically humans. They're humanoid, okay? Like, out of all the creatures that we've ever had, like, they have the same amount of fingers as us. They're just taller, which, like, cool. I can go to, like, music festivals and sit on their shoulders, dude. Like, did you even, I'm insecure? Why? Because they're not 5'7" like me? Like, Joe, all right? It's 2023. Tall people and short people date, okay?
Fair.
God, I'm really more just offended that you think that I would just aw shucks my way through a meet and greet with the engineers. Like I don't have enough goddamn sense to at least talk to them.
Okay, so how would you flirt?
Oh my God, Joe! You want all the state secrets now? You want me to give that up just for free? Like, people pay for this kind of masterclass, but just off the cuff, I think I would big league them. I think that I would talk to the ugliest friend in the engineer group first, and just get into the heads of the hotter engineers, and they'd be like, "Why is he talking to that one?" And like really just like psychological warfare them, because the thing about people that think they're super smart is that makes them even more easy to exploit.
Okay.
Insecure.
All right. You made your point.
I'm flicking my hair. I'm so offended.
Does your hair flick?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, good answer. Good answer. I'll give you that. Good answer.
Neomorph.
Yeah, the Neomorphs from Covenant. So okay.
Is that the Dodge Charger Xenomorph that I was like talking about?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Is the one that David blew on the nose? Remember, like, oh, he blew on the nose of a horse, that whole thing?
Yeah.
And like, you kind of already went into it in our Covenant episode, but like, I sort of feel like you ultimately came down on the side of like flirt with David so you could figure out how to flirt with the Neomorphs.
Ding, 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 ding.
Right?
Winner, chicken dinner.
I'm recovering.
Yeah, I'm basically going to be Chris Pratt in the Jurassic World movies. Like, I'm going to put my hand out every once in a while just to calm it down, and then it's my buddy. And me and David have a fun situationship in a vineyard somewhere.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's adorable.
Oh, it's great, dude. Like, he teaches me how to play flute. It's so fun.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds nice. Yeah. You blow, I'll do the fingering.
Buddy, I don't know who gave you my wedding vows, but you better believe it.
All right. From there, let's go to the Xenomorph itself. Original alien.
All right, Joe, what do you think?
Itself.
What do you think? Would I fight? Or would I flirt?
The tough thing about this one is I have to specify what movie, because I think like you look at Aliens, right? Alien $, and they're pretty, you can kind of kill a lot of them pretty quick with machine guns. But the first one took out a lot of people. I don't know. I'm gonna say from the first movie, the first Alien, I do think you would fight. I think you'd ultimately fight, because I think if we're going off the knowledge that you have, I don't know. Do you have the knowledge from doing this podcast or no?
What, like that? Like I've seen the movie and then I've seen the Xenomorph somehow.
Yeah. How do you handle it in your head?
No, I'm just a part of the crew. I'm going through it like them. This is fight or flirt only works if I don't if I'm treating the threat as novel.
No, that's true. That was a dumb question. That's true.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I think you're right. I think like in the first movie, you would kind of take the stance of like a Yaphet Kotto, where he's like, why don't we just freeze him? Like not deal with this problem at all, And I think you would fight it. You would go with fight.
Damn, Joe. That is 2 in a row where you got it and the reason. I would do whatever Yaphet Kotto would do. That is exactly why I would fight it. Are you kidding me? I get to work with Yaphet Kotto on a spaceship? You better believe I'm taking his lead. That is a 6 foot something. Just marvel. He's an Adonis. I'm going to do whatever he tells me to. I mean, we're all going to die, but I'm dying following Yaphet Kotto.
Damn. All right. Well, I feel like I'm recovering a lot from that engineer gaff now.
I really think that like you were like stopped overthinking it and you were like, this is Khalid we're talking about. He's an open book. Just really listen to him, you know, like really. Yeah. And then the answer came to you and you figured it out. But yeah, man, like honestly, like I would follow a lot of those guys straight into hell, like in terms of like fighting a xenomorph on a spaceship. That first movie's cast, like just some heavy hitters, you know, like
it's a great crew.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm an ally, so like I think I would last a lot longer than those guys that weren't listening to Ripley.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Okay. All right. Last one before we close her out. The Alien Queen from Aliens. I'm thinking. Okay, so this one can operate elevators. Therefore, you would flirt with her.
Okay, Joe, I might have given you a little too much credit in terms of being in my head. Believe it or not, being able to operate elevators is not a dating criteria for me. That's just not something that I need from a partner. I'm happy to operate all the elevators in a relationship, so don't feel the pressure, ladies. That being said, you're right. I would flirt with the alien, but only because I feel like there's an opportunity there where like she got a lot of kids, you know, like, and she's a single mom. I feel like I could kind of slide in as like a stepdad type and like really just kind of help. Cause like, I feel like a strong male presence for like some of those little guys, that's going to help. I could maybe get like a little like basketball league going, you know, like do a little something for the community with them. But I'm running away with it, you know, like it's her kids. Like I'm not really there for them. I just like, I'm not the stepdad, Joe. I'm the dad that stepped up. You get me?
I get you.
Okay. Yeah. So flirt.
All right. I love it. All right. Wow. That was kind of fun.
I'll be honest. When I pitched this, I was like, this could go either way.
Yeah. It was good. It was good.
I'm glad we saved it till the end. I really do feel like having them all at once is like better.
It was. Yeah. Rapid fire.
Yeah.
All right, before we go to our final segment of the show, I just wanted to say again, we talked a lot about like how much we love doing this as a series. Challenge for listeners, anyone listening on to this episode right now at this point, if you have thoughts or ideas of like a monster movie series or like a slasher series or some sort of thing that you'd like us to tackle on this podcast, I challenge you to give us a 5-star review and leave us your suggestion as the review. I think that would be interesting to read. So I'd love to hear from some listeners, any Brendensteins out there who have thoughts about what franchise we should tackle next in another series sometime down the road.
And for our secular fans, Frendensteins can also join us. Wait, are Jewish people secular? No, that's Christian people, isn't it?
Did I say Frendensteins?
You said Frendensteins, yeah.
I actually tried to say it right this time.
Yeah, so I was making a joke there. Like, our non-Jewish fans can also.
It took me a minute because I was like, oh, why are you saying that, Khalid?
Khalid! What's going on?
Wow. All right. Well, there we go. Anyway, we should move on to our final segment of the show, our What the Fandom segment, in which we each share a couple things or one or two things that we're kind of into at the moment, may or may not have anything to do with monsters or aliens or anything. So, Khalid, what the fandom with you?
Thanks for asking, Joe. My What the Fandom this week, I'm going to keep it real simple. It's just going to be one recommendation. It is season 2 of the Peacock original series, Killing It. You might remember when I recommended the first season, probably a year ago.
I think you mean me.
Did you recommend it? Okay, I recommended it to
100%.
you. So like, I feel like I was like the What the Fandom grandfather in that instance, and I just kind of take credit for it in that way.
Fair.
Anyways, I'm definitely taking credit for this one. Yeah, season 2 came back just roaring. It was amazing. I feel like they took everything that we loved about the first season, Joe, and they really ran away with it and built on it in such an amazing way. And it just kind of cracked open for me. For those of you who don't remember, when Joe recommended this the first time, Killing It stars Craig Robinson from The Office, Hot Tub Time Machine and stuff, and Claudia Doherty from the series Love on Netflix, if you ever saw it. And basically, they're both like down on their luck Floridians who enter a competition where if they kill enough snakes, they get $10,000, and they both need that much money to literally pull themselves out of like the poverty-based dramas that they have been like engulfed in. And at first you go, oh, it's just like a hokey show about like, what if these comedy characters were like are in the Florida Everglades killing like snakes and stuff. But eventually, like, you really see why the setting of the show is important, and why, like, as like far-fetched as like an idea of like entering a snake killing competition to make money, it seems like so ridiculous and pie in the sky. And then you go, oh yeah, like if you told me I could make $10,000 just for killing a few snakes, like that's more money than I've ever made in one given point. You know, like that is more than a lot of people have made. And that is exactly the point the show is making, is you are not above that. And you are not above what any of these people do. It's just that we have been fed a steady diet of media that tells us that typically when when you see a character on a TV show that is poor or desperate, that there is a failing to them. And this show, much like Greg Garcia's shows tend to do, like Sprung, which I've recommended, or My Name is Earl, or Raising Hope, if you haven't seen those, much like those shows, what it does is it centers a person or a type of person that in just about any other show would just be the villain for a lot of things that aren't in their control. And it gives them humanity, and it gives them empathy. And I love it. Like, I watch it, and it's like, it's a situational comedy that actually looks at like what our current situation is. So much of like comedy today, even more than in the 90s, feels like head in the sand, like logic of like, no one could afford that apartment. And even though that was true back when Friends was on, it's really true now. Like, you talk about like these characters and like living in big metropolitan cities. You can't get that. You live in a box. Everyone lives in a box. And this show goes, yes, this is what people living in a box would do to get out of living in a box. And it's so good. Killing It season 2, cannot recommend it enough. Joe, what the fandom with you?
Thanks for asking, Khalid. That's a good recommendation. I seconded as well.
Yeah.
Mine for this week is a book that I've been reading. The book is called Midnight Robber by Nalo Hopkinson. It's a science fiction kind of coming of age story. Nalo Hopkinson is a Jamaican Canadian writer. And so the story, it's a really unique, I'd say unique because I don't know if it's the right terminology, but it's a very non-Western styled story. So it takes place on a colonized planet far off in the future, but it's colonized based on like Afro-Caribbean like cultures. So the story is actually told like based on like kind of like oral storytelling tradition. So it's as if it's being told orally. So it's like someone telling that story. So there's a lot of different things, and it incorporates like kind of a lot of like Haitian like slang and kind of Haitian like ways of telling a story. So kind of like elements of that French strewn into it. So it was a little bit coming from like reading tend to be more Western science fiction, which tends to be like what we see a lot. It could be a little hard or jarring to go into reading the story, but once you get into it, like it's a very lyrical, almost like the flow of it is really interesting. But essentially, it's a story of like a on this world populated by this culture. The prison system, if you've done something wrong, you get exiled to this kind of like parallel dimension world that exists like along there, where civilization doesn't really exist, and this parallel dimension is kind of like populated by kind of creatures and an alien race that are kind of modeled after kind of like Caribbean mythology in a sense. And so our main character is a young girl, Tan, who gets she's not exiled, but she kind of follows her father, who is exiled, into this place. And we kind of follow her friendship with one of these characters from another race. The creatures follow her kind of making her way into these like small communities of exiled people and what they end up doing without the technology that they were once reliant on, the kind of AI systems and all that. And then just kind of it follows this like there's an old story called The Midnight Robber that she kind of identifies with, and she kind of takes on that persona for various reasons, which I won't get into because they're a little bit spoilers, but it gets very dark. But I would kind of classify this as sort of like kind of like a literary sci-fi thing. I do read a lot of pulpy science fiction. This is not pulpy by any means. It's very like heavy and rich with theme, and a lot of interesting and unique ideas are really pulled in there. As I mentioned, it was a little difficult to start reading, just getting used to the dialect and the way it's told. And even sometimes when I'm reading it at night, sometimes I have to be like, wait, hold on, what did I just read? I have to go back and kind of really make sure I'm getting it. So it can be a bit of a challenging read, but it's also a really powerful story. Like I'm getting a lot from it, and I feel like a lot of emotions reading it. So I know that she's a well-known writer. It's a lot of people who read sci-fi or would probably know about her, but this is my first kind of experience reading any of Naylor Hopkinson's works. But if this is any indication, I am very much looking forward to checking out more of her stuff. So if that sounds interesting, you check out Midnight Robber by Naylor Hopkinson.
Midnight Robber?
Mm-hmm.
I'm very interested. That sounded so cool when you were pitching it. I'm definitely going to check it out. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, it's not super long, so I mean, I think you could find it library, and it could be a breezy read, I think. But I'm kind of going through it slowly.
Yeah, no. All right. Well, that is two fantastic recommendations for you guys at home. And honestly, like, thank you for joining us on this ride that was the XENOMANIA series. It was an experiment for us, and I would say it was an overall success. It was super fun. And the next fun experiment for us is going to be the Patreon. As Joe mentioned it, we're going to be trying out a lot of cool stuff. We're going to try and engage with our Friendensteins and Steins and try to see what that ends up looking like. But we're really excited to kind of expand what we're doing with the pod and make this like just like fun and fresh for us as we barrel on down the road. So thank you guys for sticking with us through all of that, and please check out the Patreon. Thank you, Joe, for setting it up. You're a mensch. And yeah, until next time, creep it easy.